Over the time of 150 years, Konica Minolta is known for camera, film, and imaging technology. And we got into the healthcare through providing X-ray films. We want to be in the area where it really makes a difference to people's lives. Medical imaging is the area where there's going to be a lot of technology breakthrough. X-ray becomes much more valuable if you start capturing moving images. With DDR, we can detect early what is the problem. In order to capture moving image of an X-ray, you have to have intermittent pulsing capability. All the capabilities, the data capturing, data storage, data analyzing, are housed in a workstation. And that workstation was created by Dell Technologies.
簡便にかつ低侵襲、そして多くの情報を得られる。で、確実な診断ができる。これが一番重要なことです。迅速に診断し、そして迅速に治療に移るっていう。それがやはり DDR に期待されるところで。
Pulmonary disease is the place where it's immediately beneficial. But areas like orthopedics, where you have moving joints, that's another very promising application. This technology is so unique, there's a huge potential to benefit patients. Medical technology, now it's married with data science. It's opening up completely different possibilities. Konica Minolta strives for betterment of people's lives. We hope we'll be known for a very innovative healthcare company in the future.
At Dell Technologies, we believe technology has the power to drive human progress. Improving healthcare, gender equity, education, and the environment is all part of building the future we want to live in. It's why we're committed to bold goals over the next 10 years, because we can't just talk about progress. We must make progress real. It starts with our team. When we're diverse and inclusive, we reflect our customers, and we're able to unleash innovation. That's why by 2030, 50% of our global workforce and 40% of our global leadership will be women. Through technology, we'll advance healthcare, education, and economic opportunity initiatives around the globe. It's not only what we do, but how we do it. At the core of all these goals is our enduring promise to uphold ethics and privacy. By 2030, we will fully automate our data control processes, making it easier for our customers to access, delete, or update their personal data. At Dell Technologies, we believe innovation is the key to a better future. When we bring together new thinking, new solutions, new collaborations, and new voices, we can make progress real.
Presenting PowerStore. It's smart, it's adaptable. The future of storage is here. With up to 7 times more performance and up to 3 times lower latency. Featuring data in place upgrades for zero downtime and greater app mobility with consistent edge to core to cloud operations. Let's make one step ahead real with PowerStore from Dell Technologies.
All right. So good morning, everyone. Hi. So I am Leonard Marcelino, Marketing Manager of Field Data Business Systems, Inc. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar and welcome to Dell PowerStore Masterclass. Of course, it's brought to you by Field Data Business Systems, Inc. and Dell Technologies, Philippines. So before we get started and before I introduce our speaker lineups, I would like to cover a few housekeeping tips and functions that we'll be using this webinar. Let me introduce to you our speakers. Our first speaker is Carl Toribio. Our next speaker is Jose Ramos, or Onin. To move on and kickstart the program for today, I will also introduce to you our product manager.
Thank you, Lay. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Talon and I am the product manager of Field Data for Dell ISG. On behalf of Dell and Field Data, we are very glad that you can join us today in this virtual event to talk about the latest mid-range storage from Dell, which is the PowerStore. In the next few hours, you will hear from the rest of the Dell and Field Data team why is PowerStore data-centric, intelligent, and adaptable.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar. So I'll be going through the introduction of PowerStore, the latest storage appliance from Dell Technologies. And together with me is also Jose Onin Ramos from Partner Presales. And I am myself, I'm a presales specialist from the SPS team within Dell Technologies, which is standing for Storage Platforms and Solutions. Okay, so let's start. So some slides here will contain roadmaps as well. So of course, these are subject to change, and please avoid screenshotting roadmap slides and sharing them. Okay, so right now in the data decade, data is growing at an exponential rate. And we are also seeing the proliferation of different types of data. May it be block, may it be files, maybe it be objects, or even containerized data. So a lot of the infrastructure of IT has had to cope with these different silos of storage to accommodate all of this data. And at the same time, these data is not only coming from the data center, but is also coming from other places such as the edge locations or satellite locations and even from the cloud. On the other hand, IT operations must also match this data proliferation by being either agile or cloud-like and also have less staff but provide a more seamless experience. So all of these diverging investments must be met by a new infrastructure technology. So as of now, what happens is we at Dell EMC have been developing purpose-built arrays with built-in data protection, data efficiency, data diversity, and data value throughout the years. And all of these have data services involved. But these arrays or storage arrays have been of different types and silos. Now, in the data decade, not only do we need these features of data protection, data diversity, efficiency, and value, but we need also to provide the operations people automation, intelligence, simplicity, and agility. So we had to build from the ground up a new architecture to accommodate both of these tenets. And we've come up with the Dell Technologies PowerStore storage appliance, which is designed for the data decade. Now, PowerStore has 3 main pillars. It's data-centric, it's intelligent, and it's adaptable. So to summarize, it's data-centric that it can accommodate any workload. Performance has been optimized to accommodate the latest technologies in all flash. And it has a built-in efficiency guarantee, which guarantees a 4:1 data reduction without any competitive assessment or complex assessment needed. It's intelligence in that it allows automation, it's programmable, and provides you proactive health analytics. And lastly, it's adaptable because the architecture is very flexible in terms of deployment, architecture, and consumption. So as we go through the slides, we'll be going through each later on, and we'll be cutting to some demos that Onin will be showing as well. First, what do we mean by any workload? So as you know, the data center workloads are usually around relational databases such as Oracle, Microsoft SQL, ERP systems such as SAP, electronic medical records, and even new cloud-native workloads that are object-based and container-based, and other content repositories, and even Office home directories. Now, all of these are passing to the traditional protocols or network protocols like Fiber Channel, iSCSI, and even NAS, such as NFS or SMB shares. And now, with the introduction of the latest network protocol called NVMe over Fabric, which is designed to accommodate all flash, we are ready for the next era. So PowerStore is able to cater to all of these traditional and modern workloads, able to provide block, file, and even container-based storage to all of these arrays, including NVMe over Fabric network protocol support coming later this year. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the most powerful feature of PowerStore is the always-on inline data reduction. It uses an intelligent dedupe and compression, which is inline all the time and does not affect performance. And because of this capability, we at Dell EMC and Dell Technologies guarantee a 4:1 data reduction. That means we can provide you, if you sign the terms and conditions, which just states that the data is not host compressed or is not non-compressible, then if we're not able to meet this 4:1 data reduction guarantee, we'll provide you free capacity up to half of your initial usable purchase. So this is a very powerful guarantee because unlike other vendors who require a complex assessment of your data, we are willing to give out this guarantee with no assessment needed. Of course, for performance, versus our older but still active Unity and Unity XT arrays, we did an internal benchmark, and PowerStore is able to be up to 7 times faster with 3 times lower latency versus an equivalent Unity XT configuration. All of this, of course, powered by an active-active architecture where both nodes or controllers are able to service I/O operations at the same time and can instantly take over once one node or one controller is down. Now, of course, everything is built from the ground up using end-to-end NVMe or non-volatile memory express, which is the new protocol that supersedes the old SCSI commands built for all flash arrays or all flash media. And not only do we incorporate the latest all flash media, all flash SSDs, we're also able to accommodate the newest storage class memory, which is a faster tier of flash media as well. So in terms of programmability, PowerStore is highly integrated with a lot of the programmable DevOps tools out there, such as for VMware side, we're fully pluggable with plugins for VMware vRealize Suite. We're able to provide CSI drivers to enable you to have Kubernetes containers. And for programmability in the data center, we're fully REST API compliant and can provide Ansible playbooks. You can build your own Ansible playbooks so you'll be able to fully automate provisioning of capacity and even adding additional clusters to the environment. So all of this is driven by the automated end-to-end workloads and self-service catalogs. So because of these features, we're able to deploy new resources in seconds versus what used to take days. and eliminate a lot of manual steps that reduce the risk of having longer downtimes. One of the more powerful features is our capability of both scale up and scale out. So what do we mean by that? Scale up means we start with the base enclosure or base array with two active nodes and base capacity drives. We can fill up the 25 slot capacity drives, and if we need additional capacity, we can add up to three more expansion enclosures and provide up to 2.8 petabytes of effective capacity per appliance. Aside from that, we can also scale out by adding additional three more appliances, or each appliance has, of course, two nodes, so up to eight active nodes. And thus, we're able to scale out all the way up to eight active nodes and up to, if I'm not mistaken, 11 petabytes of effective capacity in a single cluster. Now, this feature, of course, is available for our PowerStore T models as of the moment, and will also be available for X models later on. And the power of scale up and scale out is also, it can also scale out to different models. So we're not only limited to a single model in the PowerStore lineup. So in terms of autonomous features, PowerStore has a built-in autonomous capability that constantly rebalances and analyzes the performance of the array. It can make recommendations within the cluster. If there's a new appliance that's added, it's automatically added to the cluster, and resources are automatically recommended to be balanced to this additional storage appliance. The machine learning engine over time makes recommendations. If one array is already, let's say, overloaded, it will recommend a user to move some of the workload to an additional array. And of course, since a cluster is all connected to a host, this is all done seamlessly and without any downtime. So it continuously monitors for all of these changes and optimizes the efficiency of your PowerStore cluster. So at a little more detail, let's say we have a fully populated cluster with 4 appliances, and each appliance has 2 nodes. All of this is driven by the internal PowerStore manager. And all of this is composed, of course, of a base enclosure and up to 3 expansion enclosures. Now, the clustered appliances is able to cater to the different storage that I mentioned earlier, block files and virtual volumes, all from a single cluster. Now, we're going to the part of the PowerStore family models. So PowerStore actually comes in 5 models: 1000, 3000, 5000, 7000, and 9000. And if you can see, all of these have common features, such as they all have the capability to expand up to 384 drives. And they all support either NVMe or storage class memory on the base enclosure and SAS flash SSDs on the expansion enclosures. They also share a common embedded capability to provide 25, 10, or 1 gig E connectivity for iSCSI as well as NAS, or even 10 or 1 gigabit copper connectivity for the same protocols. And additionally, we also have the capability to provide I/O modules for fiber channel 32, 16, and 8 gig, provide 25 and 10 gigabit SFP connectivity as well, and 10:1 copper base T connectivity. So all of this is auto-negotiate down up to 3 levels. Lastly, they all share the maximum capacity I mentioned earlier. That's 11.52 terabytes of 11.36 petabytes of effective capacity in a fully populated cluster. So of course, the differences between the models is in terms of the memory. So from 384 gig all the way up to 2.56 gigabytes of memory within the appliance, a single appliance. And of course, differences in terms of CPU core count and clock speed. So in terms of performance, that will be the main differentiator. But in terms of capacity, all of the models share the same capacity and connectivity. Now, seeing the base enclosure, as I mentioned earlier, it's a 2-rack unit form factor composed of dual socket Intel Xeon CPUs. It has 25 drive slots that connect NVMe or storage class memory, where everything is redundant. So dual redundancy on the node level. And it allows you to scale up via adding additional drives to the 25 drive enclosure, and adds, sorry, did somebody make a comment? Oh, okay, thank you. And allows you to scale out by adding expansion enclosures. Now for drive support, as I mentioned, for our NVMe, which is the fastest protocol drives, we have 1.92, 3.84, 7.68, and 15.36 terabyte NVMe SSDs right now. And of course, later on, we'll be adding even larger drives. And for our super fast storage class memory using 3D Crosspoint technology, we have initially 375 gig and 750 gig capacities. These are super fast. So for the 25 drives, the 21 drives are for the SSD and NVMe. And for the last 4 drives, these are reserved for the NVRAM drives, which we use for write caching and vaulting. So for the first 2 models, we have 2 drives populated. And once you have the choice to upgrade to higher models, non-disruptively, then we will populate the other 2 models for additional mirroring. So in terms of rack units, I mentioned it's already 2 rack units, 31.2 inches in depth, and just 92 pounds fully loaded. So services, of course, we provide what we call our Pro Deploy services as well. All right, so let's start with one of our first demos of PowerStore. We'll call on Onin to demonstrate the PowerStore T model, which is the block file and virtual volume storage array, to walk through the management graphical user interface. Okay, Onin, go ahead.
Thank you, Carl. Good morning, everyone. Again, my full name is Jose Nino. That's why they call me Onin also, right? So let us start with the PowerStore demo. This is the PowerStore T-Series uh, management tool, right? So it's HTML based, no more Java. Very intuitive, very simple to use, and a lot, very useful actually. There's a lot of things that you can see on this management. Let me log in, of course, the usual login and the password, the magic password. Okay, everyone knows that. Okay. So immediately when you log in, you can find the dashboard. This is an overview. Okay? It's like your car dashboard. You can see the fuel gauge, RPM, right? Temperature, and all other stuff, right? So in this particular demo, we are seeing two types of storage here. Actually, we have 2 PowerStore T series, okay? And you can find here, because it's unified storage, as mentioned by Carl earlier, we have block and file. So in this case, there are 3 volumes, okay? Volume groups, I mean, and then, excuse me, 21 volumes connected for this on this block, okay? Connectivity, and there are 10 hosts connected on the block component. And then, of course, for the file, again, this is we support both NFS and for the Linux, and then SMB shares for Windows. Okay, so you can also define the watch list. Okay, so you can see the watch list by volume, virtual machines. What is this watch list? So you can find here the IOPS, the bandwidth, and the free capacity. So very useful. Okay, so you have a full view, okay, or an overview of your storage appliance. Okay, this is the dashboard. This is an overview. Going to the capacity tab. Okay, so you can find here what is the use capacity and the free capacity. Okay, At the bottom left, you can also see here the overall efficiency. It's almost 6.1. I mean 6:1 efficiency, and the savings in terms of snapshots and thin clones, thin savings, right? So in this case, we're just showing here a 2.4:1 reduction. Okay. So you can see here the logical use and the physical use component. Okay, and what's good with this one also at the bottom right, right? You can find here the top consumers. Actually, you can define this one. Okay, it's either you select by volume groups, okay, or by virtual machines, by appliance, by system. Okay, so you can find here. But normally, what we monitor is the top consumers in the volume, right? So uh, which applications, which is are eating up lots of your volume. Okay, so also on the upper right, okay, quadrant of the screen, you can see here the historical usage. So you can see here the physical. There's a legend here, right? The lines here, the black lines are physical, the blue is used, the green is forecast, and the forecast range. So there is forecasting as well. So you can hover your mouse, okay, at certain point in time here. So you can see here the timestamp, what is the use capacity, okay, and the physical utilization, of course. And what's good with this one, okay, you can select a particular period, okay. Like for example, in this one, right? I'm viewing the last 24 hours. Actually, you can view up to last 2 years. So this is the historical utilization of your storage capacity, okay. And the beauty of this one, okay, let's select the last first month. So you can see here the utilization and timestamps. You can hover, right? And you can even reset back the zoom to your original view. And another good thing here is you can export, you can print the chart, you can download it, the image, for reporting purposes. For example, you want to have a capacity upgrade because you're running out of capacity. Okay, you can show this, okay, to your management, okay, as part of your justification. This is based on the utilization. This is what we have. We're running out of capacity already, so we need to add more capacity. So this is the report that you can also use, and for reference as well. Okay, so several options: PDF, JPEG, or CSV. Okay, so this is very good actually. Okay, and that is for capacity tab. For performance tab, okay, for the dashboard, similar with the capacity. You can hover your mouse for specific timestamp, and you can determine the IOPS latency for this one. In this particular period, we're seeing a zero point 0.5 milliseconds, sub-millisecond latency. Okay, IOPS is around, it's up 102, 372, 100,372 IOs per second, and the bandwidth is 749.1 megabits per second. Sorry. Okay. So, and you can still select a particular period, for example, in this one, okay? You can drill down further, okay, on those historical utilization in terms of performance. And again, you can also download it, okay, the reports, okay, for last month up to 2 years as well. So very good tool for you to monitor and for reporting purposes as well. Not just for reporting. Actually, you can also, by viewing this one, you can also determine some anomalies. For example, at this period, there shouldn't be high IOPS or because we're not using the equipment. But suddenly, you found out that there's a high IOPS, okay? There's a peak IOPS that happening on that particular period, which is should be at this period. So you can determine some anomalies as well using this tool to monitor. Okay, so that is the overview of the dashboard tab. Now going to the monitoring, actually it's part of this one. The monitoring is more on the alerts. Okay, there are several options that you can see here. I mean, alerting level, critical, major, minor, and informational. Okay, in this case, actually when you click this one, it will go to the monitoring tab. Okay, monitoring tab actually you can drill down further on which appliance is in at fault. Okay, so these are the description of the alert and the severity. So you'll be running A1 is projected to run out of space in 8 days. So very useful also, right? So you can also use this, yeah, okay, to justify your capacity upgrade. So a lot, not just for monitoring, for justification, and of course for your complete end-to-end life cycle, I mean, life cycle management of your appliance, okay? So this is for the monitoring. Going to the compute tab, this is where you configure hosts. For example, you're adding a new host, okay? There's a new server or additional VxRail, or I mean VMware host clusters that you need to add. Okay, this is where you use that. Okay, this is where you add, or you can even modify configurations, for example. Okay, or you can create host groups for that particular matter. Oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked the wrong button. Let me launch it again. Okay, let me go back to my folder. Okay, so let me launch it again and share my screen. So let me log in again. Magic password. And now actually you're here already, right? In the compute. Host groups. Okay. So this is where you add a host or even modify your host. Okay. So in this case, we're seeing a lot of you can even connect a physical or even a virtual a VMware host server here. Okay. So in more for more under the more actions actually is just mapping and unmap. Okay. Now going to the storage tab, this is where you configure volumes. Okay. So very important. Okay, you can create a volume group. Okay, containers. This is also where you configure file systems and NAS servers, because T series is a unified storage, so you can use this tab to configure your NAS. Okay, functionality on the T series. So going to the volume menu, right? So from here, you can find all the volumes that you have created. You can create one, again, you can select and modify, okay, each of the volumes that you want. You can increase capacity, okay, uh, of the volumes. For example, you're running out of capacity on this particular business warehouse volume, so you can add more capacity. So this is the storage, okay. Now, for the volume groups, actually, okay, you can create some sort of a group and then add, for example, here in business warehouse, okay. When you click this one, okay, you can find all the details as well, okay, capacity, performance, and alerts, okay. So in this case, we have 3 volume groups, okay, and we have the protection policy as well here. Okay, protection policy is being done here as well. Okay, so this is the replication and the snapshot policies. Okay, if you don't have replicate, if you want to replicate from one appliance to another, this is where you configure. Okay, so we have a built-in replication asynchronous at the moment for T series. Okay, so this is where you configure the source and the target. Okay. Um, for the remote systems, of course, this is where you add your remote systems for replication. Before you can configure a replication, you should configure first the target remote system. Okay, and the protection policy is actually this is where you create your snapshot rules and replications rules. So you can create several rules depending on your SLA. Okay. Okay. For example, protection policy number one. Okay, snapshot rule number one. When you click this one, okay, you can create a gold or silver or platinum type of policy, okay, depending on the workloads that's going to use this one. For example, the criticality of a certain volume, let's say it's your Oracle database that you need to protect, so you can create another snapshot rule, a sort of a gold rule, okay, for quality of serve. I mean, yeah, for protection. Okay, like for example, in this one, from Sunday to Saturday, it's gonna take snapshot, and depending on your RPO, okay, RTO, okay. So 24 hours is the frequency. This one is 7 days retention, etc. Okay, so this is where you configure that. Okay. Um, again, This is your snapshot rule and protection policies as well. Okay. So going to the migration. PowerStore, by the way, has a built-in migration tool. Okay. So we can do cross-platform migration. When I say cross-platform, you can migrate. Let's say you have an old Equalogic, Dell Equalogic storage, or you have a compelling SE series storage, you have an old VNX, you have a Unity storage, or even an Extreme IO storage. You can have that. We can have that cross-platform migration capability. Okay, so this is where you create your migration actions. Okay, in this case we don't have one yet. Okay, so for internal migrations, meaning that is between PowerStore to PowerStore. Okay, in this case we have two PowerStore. Okay, systems. Okay, we have appliance in. So actually this one was configured. This one is EQL. This is for cross-platform. But internal migration, we also have that, meaning from PowerStore to PowerStore, and cross-platform from Equalogic to PowerStore. Okay, all you have to do is configure. Okay, there is a host connected to the old storage, and the host is also connected to your new PowerStore appliance, and you can now add that, do an import of the volume. Okay, seamlessly. So we can have this import external storage. Okay. Okay. In this case, we have SE series. This one is compellent. This one is an old EMC VNX. This is our Equalogic. So once you have added these remote systems, and you can immediately import. Okay. Configure everything first, then you can now import the volume. Okay. So in this case, we've seen here, we are importing the volume of EQL, and you can see the progress here. Okay, so very useful tool. Seamless migration, never worry migration. So that's also part of our loyalty program. I mean, never worry migration, part of our storage loyalty program. Okay, so, we have that migration tool built in. Okay. So there are several ways to migrate, actually, storage to storage, okay, using the built-in tool. If it's third party, if you have VMware virtualization environment, you can also use the storage Vmotion of VMware. Okay, so a lot, but within our family of storage, okay, we can have that cross-platform and internal migration as well. Right? So for the hardware, it's like your server management. If you're familiar with the Open Manage or your ID rack, okay, this is where you can find a graphical view. I mean, of your equipment. So when you click this specific component appliance, you can see the specific capacity, performance alerts, and ports and of that particular appliance. Okay, so in this case, we can see even the ports if it's up and down. You can see here there is a configured LACP. Okay, for the hardware, you can have a graphical view of the equipment. Okay, and you can hover your mouse and can even find information on specific components. Okay, so again, so you can even blink LED. For example, you want to check there's a defective drive. Okay, so you found out drive number 8 is defective. You can select that one. Okay, and you can even blink LED. So when you go to your data center, you can immediately find the faulty drives because there's a blinking LED already here. Okay, so you can have the rear view as well. Okay, you can click each of the graph, the component level. You can find all information, even up to the serial number, okay, and part number, okay, for ordering purposes. Okay, this is PowerStore T series. Okay, so apologies, a bit engrossed in showing you how beautiful, I mean, how useful this management tool is and how simple to manage and use. Okay, so let me go to Cloud IQ. So that will be for the next demo. I'm sorry. So actually, this ends my let me end my demo for the PowerStore T series. But again, you can integrate your Cloud IQ here as well. There's a link here that you can launch your Cloud IQ Access and VMware vSphere for integration, because we have the PowerStore X series, as mentioned by Carl. that is using hypervisor deployment model. Okay, we can integrate it to your PowerStore X series. I mean, to your vCenter for management as well. Okay, so over to you, Carl.
Thank you very much, Onin,
Thank you.
for that demo. So to summarize, what you saw was the PowerStore's management graphical user interface, where from a single pane of glass using HTML5, you can access not only your PowerStore single appliance, but all the appliances in a fully populated cluster. You can do different management stuff, such as, of course, adding hosts, adding volumes, managing your data protection policies for snapshots and replication, and even view on the individual hardware level to perform diagnostics or to perform views of the serial numbers. And lastly, performance metrics to help diagnose or to help analyze and export any performance that you wish.
Uh, there was a question also, Carl, if there is an email notification. Yes, you can configure the email
Yes,
notification.
yeah, we can configure via either REST API or SNMP
Yeah.
traps that you can configure as long as your call home system using what we call our support assist is fully configured. We can configure those as well.
Yes.
Okay, so going back, let's resume our presentation. So PowerStore OS is built from the ground up to be a container-based architecture. So what that implies is it's a next generation storage stack that's very modularized. This means we can provide quick fixes faster and develop modules faster. So you'll see more features added on a faster pace compared to older architectures. And we're able to provide consistent services across different platforms because of its modularity. Now, as Onin mentioned earlier, there's the standard deployment model called the PowerStore T. So this PowerStore T is like your traditional storage array. It caters to external hosts. In our case, we prefer, of course, PowerEdge servers and provides either block, file, or virtual volume capacity. The newest development is a powerful feature called the PowerStor X model. So this model has the capability called apps on. Apps on, instead of installing PowerStor OS bare metal on the nodes in an appliance, what's installed is VMware ESXi, and the PowerStore operating system runs as a virtual appliance. So what this allows is the PowerStore itself can act as a host for virtual machines and allows you to virtualize 2% storage still to external bare metal servers at the same time, but this time block only. So what this implies is on, let's say, your satellite or edge data center, you can run infrastructure apps or data intensive demanding virtual machines that can perform analytics. So it can actually, for edge or small data centers, be a data center in a box. You no need to buy servers. Now, as mentioned earlier, apps on, when deployed, for example, in an edge or a satellite or a robo office, can perform analytics using virtual machines. So there are a lot of analytics apps nowadays, like CCTV apps, communication transportation apps. And all of this data can be now serviced using the compute resources of the power store within the array or the appliance itself, and then can replicate back to your core or home data center or main data center using VMware replication or the built-in storage asynchronous block replication. At the same time, it can also have VM migrations or transfers via vSphere Vmotion to your other infrastructure in the VMware environment in your data center. For example, if you have our HCI or hyperconverged product called VxRail, you can do Vmotion and storage Vmotion to that. Or if you have traditional PowerEdge servers, which have their own storage or are being presented capacity from the same PowerStore appliance, you can do Vmotion and storage Vmotion as well. So this utilizes existing infrastructure investment and complements other platforms, which allows seamless workload mobility from edge to core. And of course, let's not forget cloud, because cloud is a big thing nowadays. So together with VMware's VCF or VMware Cloud Foundation, we are able to perform application and data migration to, let's say, VMware on AWS. So we can provide operational consistency and other clouds as well. So this is an example. We have a cloud data service called Faction in the US, and it's actually starting to be deployed elsewhere, which allows multi-cloud access and data replication to a cloud of your choice from your core data center to the cloud as well. So this allows multiple cloud workload migration, analytics, and test dev um, sharing of VM workloads between each other. So what we have from our VMware colleagues is a analysis tool we call Encompass. So in Encompass, what the analysis team does is run an Encompass assessment and determine from that the percentage of virtual machine breakdowns that they have. And from a recent study of over 250 accounts with over 1 million VMs analyzed, what they saw was 90% of virtual machines are what we call general purpose or compute intensive. So these types of virtual machine use a lot of CPU resources, but just the right amount or minimum amount of storage. So these are a great fit for our hyperconverged infrastructure like VxRail. Now, the remaining 10% of VMs are what we saw as storage intensive, meaning their CPU usage is just normal, but they use a lot of IOPS and a lot of capacity for storage intense applications. So these are what we mentioned, the analytics workloads or the heavy database workloads that need more storage than CPU. So these are ideal for either a three-tier architecture or for our own apps on capability on PowerStore. And lastly, of course, file and object. We're able to cater to file within PowerStore itself or use object from our Elastic Cloud Storage called ECS and connect them all to a single network infrastructure. Now, when building your own three-tier environment or building your own PowerStore cluster, you also have the option of having it just built for you by Dell Technologies using the buy method called VxBlock. So VxBlock contains a PowerStore appliance or our other storage arrays plus Cisco servers and networking all in a single rack or multiple racks. So it's treated as a single appliance and it's all managed, developed, supported, and engineered as one. So that's, of course, if you don't want to build it yourself, you can just buy it from us and have a much faster outcome. Now back to PowerStore X. So as I mentioned earlier, within a single PowerStore appliance in the PowerStore X deployment model, there are two nodes and each node will have VMware ESXi installed. So one ESXi host license per node. So this license can be obtained from us, of course, or you can bring your own license. And we require either Enterprise Plus or more recently, we can have Robo licenses used as well. So we automatically, upon deployment, deploy the needed configurations for the ESXi cluster, such as HA, DVS, and other features as well. So PowerStore OS, instead of running bare metal on the nodes in a PowerStore X model, is a single virtual appliance per node. So it's highly available as well. If one node or one VM goes down, the other virtual appliance will take over seamlessly. So this PowerStore X virtual appliance has the capability of performing all of the data services I mentioned earlier using PowerStore Manager. And of course, this is not just an ordinary presentation. So PowerStore X provides capacity natively via the kernel. So there's very little overhead and very low latency when presenting storage to the internal virtual machines. So looking at it from another point of view, we have here a PowerStore below providing fiber channel and iSCSI connectivity to a Power Edge server. And at the same time, the presentation is internally via iSCSI. Well, the actual driver is actually a proprietary driver. It's what I mentioned, it's low latency and highly available. So it's able to provide storage to the virtual machines that are hosted within the PowerStore X via virtual volumes. So VMware Virtual Volumes allows you to perform storage processor-based management on individual VMs, their data stores, and their subcomponents on a much more granular level than ordinary VMFS data stores. So at the same time, we're even able to present Fiber Channel and iSCSI to other hosts as well. All right. So back to Onion, who will be showing you a demonstration of the PowerStore X apps on capabilities. So back to you, Onion.
Right, thank you, Carl. So let's have a quick demo of the PowerStore. I'll be using the interactive demo to make my demo faster. So this is the Power X, right? VMware integration. As mentioned by Carl, this is a hypervisor deployment, the X series. For the X series, each of the nodes, okay, we install the ESXi directly. Okay, and the PowerStore operating system is running as a VM. Okay, so let's see the VMware integration. So it's very simple. No? It's very you just connect to the PowerStore manager again. Okay, the usual um, account and magic password, and then let's log in. So for you to configure the PowerStore X series and integrate, okay, to vCenter, it's basically the same thing that you do on a traditional VMware host server. Okay, but in this case, let's go to the compute, okay, tab. You can see here the vCenter connection. This is where you configure and integrate PowerStore, okay, to your vCenter. Okay, so it will require, of course, external vCenter. There's no vCenter running inside PowerStore. Okay, so you can we launch the vSphere, of course, the vSphere client, the usual password administrator at vSphere. Oops, local. Okay, and then of course the magic password, and then log in. Okay, so you can find here through the vCenter. Okay, you can find the hosts and clusters here. So when you click hosts and clusters, okay, you will see here the PowerStore. Actually, you can create your PowerStore. You can create your own sort of group. Okay, so similar to what you do on your traditional servers. Okay, you configure this one. Okay, for example, we created the PowerStore 5000X series data center. Under that, there will be clustered, actually, again, highly available nodes. There are two nodes inside the PowerStore appliance, the X series. And you can find here, these are the IP addresses of your nodes, okay? And inside the node, okay, inside the PowerStore X series, there are 3 DB servers running as a virtual machine. So this is the direct VM running inside PowerStore. So you can easily also find here your production. Okay, let's click on your, for example, this is your production data center. Okay, this is your host. Okay, and you can find all the information here, the summary, etc. In this particular demo, let's select the 2.2, the node number 1. Okay, and then you can find all the information, the hypervisor, okay, memory, CPU. In this case, there are 32 CPUs, and the memory is 297 gig. Okay, uh, all those information, of course, the system information, and then of course, let's select. For example, this is the VM. This is the PSTX FN. This is the virtual machine. This is the PowerStore operating system. Okay, there are two, as you can see, highly available for Node 1 and Node 2. Okay, let's select Node 1, the operating system. You can see here the VM. Okay, wherein the PowerStore OS is residing. Okay, there's a guest OS here. You can find all the information. Okay, and you can drill down further on the VM hardware to find the specifications, the resources. So if you see a red here, don't worry, okay? There is a notification here, right? So this is natural, this is normal. So you don't have to worry this one because 50% of the CPU and memory of the PowerStore X series is allocated for this particular uh, uh, VMware integration component. Okay, so 50% of the resources, that's why it's red because it's fully 50% is fully dedicated for this particular PowerStore operating system VMs. Okay, so this is normal. So let's go back to our main data center here, vCenter client. So this is where you configure. Okay, by default, actually, when you initialize PowerStore X series, the VASA component will be automatically registered in the vCenter. Okay, so you don't have to worry on that one. Let's select configuration. You can find here all the information, right, on the type on the virtual machines running. Okay, so in the config, you can select the storage providers here. In this case, we'll be looking at the VMware VASA, PowerStore VASA provider. Again, as mentioned, this will be automatically registered to the vCenter upon initialization. Okay, so you can drill down further and find more information. Is the VASA provider. We're using the version 3.0 of VASA API for PowerStore. Okay, this is the PowerStore 5000. So there you go. It's already integrated with your vCenter. So with that, you can now do your usual management of your host. You can do Vmotion to PowerStore X series using the traditional way that you use. Okay, so I forgot to anyway, let's remove the callouts. Okay. So this is the Vmotion, right? So for example, you want to move up from prod, okay, from production, you want to migrate it to PowerStore. Okay. Let's select change both compute and resource and storage. So we'll be doing a storage Vmotion as well because this one is residing on a third part on a second data center cluster, for example, with external storage, and you want to move that to a PowerStore because this particular application would need more data performance, lower latency. Okay, it's a data intensive, for example, workload. Okay, you can move it, select the data center, of course, where you want to move. So in this case, from production to PowerStore data center, right? So select the PowerStore model and click next. And then of course, production, this is the source, okay? And then of course, select the VM network where you want to use that one. In this case, we have the DVS PowerStore, okay? VM network. And then just click next again, okay? Schedule vMotion, this is the default and recommended. We'll leave it as is and then click next. And from there, okay, click finish and it will be migrated. Okay, so let's drill down further here. So you can see here the status, the progress, okay, of your storage vMotion and migration. So from the prod to your PowerStore X series, and you can also do that from PowerStore X series going to your prod in the same process and manner. Okay, so that ends my brief demo of PowerStore X series integration and how to do migration. Again, very useful. Uh, as mentioned, as presented by Carl earlier, so a lot of use cases for PowerStore X series on the edge, on the core, and even cloud deployment as well. I mean, integration through our VCF component. All right. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Carl.
All right. Thank you, Onin. So to summarize, okay, so as summarized, so within the PowerStore GUI earlier, you have a quick integration with vCenter. So you can log in quickly to vCenter and automatically the drivers are installed, the VASA provider is installed, and you have full management capability either from the vCenter side or within PowerStore itself. So you can deploy new vVols or virtual volumes and you can manage them and you can see their metrics as well. And you can, of course, perform manually the vMotion within the nodes itself, or you can allow it to be managed by PowerStore itself. And you can do migrations from other hosts or servers in your cluster to and from PowerStore X appliance because it itself is a fully managed VMware cluster. Okay, so I already saw some questions earlier on seamless migration. So currently, these are the arrays that have the capability to do seamless migration. So very little downtime. The only downtime is for the the what you call this? The turnover, the cut over to the new array. So seamless migration even has an agentless option where you don't need to install anything on the host side. So currently supported are Extreme IO, Unity, Unity XT, Compellent SC series, VNX series, and our Ecologic or our PS series. So of course, this doesn't stop us from migrating from other arrays or other applications, just that we'll need to use host-based migration tools as well. Okay, so what this allows is the adaptable architecture. So we can consolidate a lot of workloads, we can scale up and scale out, and we can perform data in place upgrades. So how can we perform data in place upgrades? We have a program called the Anytime Upgrade Program. So the Anytime Upgrade Program is an optional program you can sign on when purchasing your PowerStore array. The first is the standard program. If you sign up for the standard program, within the month or within the maintenance agreement period, you will be able to get a free generational controller upgrade to the next generation PowerStore. So for example, you purchased a PowerStore 1000 model, you will get the next generation, let's say it's called PowerStore 1500 model anytime you want. You don't need to sign up for an additional maintenance contract. And of course, we also have the select options. This allows you to upgrade to a higher model and a next generation model at the same time. So if for example, you have currently a PowerStore 1000 model, you will later have the option to update to a PowerStore 3500 model. So both a higher model and a next generation model at the same time. So that's the select option number 2. And the last select option is a scale out capability to get a second controller or controller for free. So if you purchase a single PowerStore 1000, this is a PowerStore T, of course, because X currently does not scale out yet. That's coming soon. If you signed up for the PowerStore Select program, option 3, you can get another controller in the cluster for free. You will just have to pay for the disk drives. That the controller itself is free. So all of this, as I mentioned, you can do this anytime in the contract, and unlike other vendors, you don't need to renew your contract to get these benefits. So in summary, so we have the capability to modernize and do anytime upgrades without any renewal, plus do the capabilities of doing seamless migration, scale up and out, and because of its containerized architecture, do faster and continuous innovation on PowerStore itself. Now, Onion also mentioned earlier, you're covered by the Future Proof program. So Future Proof program benefits, one is the 4:1 data reduction guarantee I mentioned earlier, where we promise to provide effective capacity, 4:1 at the minimum, but you can actually get much larger, up to 20:1. And if we don't meet this at least 4:1 data reduction, we'll give you free capacity up to 50% of the usable capacity you initially purchased. Another tenet is the anytime upgrades that I mentioned earlier. You can sign up for the standard where you can get a next generation controller upgrade for free, or you can understand and sign up for the select program option 1, which is the next generation plus higher model option, or the select option 2, which is the free additional scale out controller. You're just paying for the disk drives. And this last one, Dell Technologies on Demand. So this is more for our DFS program, which provides you the capability of OPEX instead of CAPEX. So as of now, it's not yet in the Philippines, but we can provide it via our partner, PhilData. Okay, so one of the main benefits to PowerStore is it includes a free insight software called Cloud IQ. Cloud IQ resides in our Dell Technologies Cloud, which connects to all of your Dell EMC storage arrays, and later on, even other infrastructure such as the servers and hyperconverged, and even our SAN fabrics and network equipment. So this allows you to use and to see at a glance if there's any capacity that needs to be added in the future, so you can plan ahead. It also shows you performance metrics, so you can spot trouble before it happens and reduce risk by providing a proactive health score. So if you're familiar with the VMware vRealize health score, it's very similar to that on an array level or to the whole data center storage infrastructure level. So to show you some of the powerful features of Cloud IQ, which is free, by the way, you just need to have an active contract and to make sure you're connected to our support assist or ESRS call home feature. Onion will show you this feature at a glance. Go Onion.
So this is Cloud IQ. Again, we have a lot of features. I would say this is one of the best free cloud-based analytics, okay, that you can see out there in the market. Okay, so here there are new, okay, in the Cloud IQ. Okay, we now support Power Protect DD. So it was added for support. Okay, data domain and data, if you have our Power Protect data domain, DDV as well, you can now view detailed information in Cloud IQ. Okay, so not just storage as mentioned, so a lot of more functionalities and capabilities. So we also updated the mobile overview and system health views. We have actually Cloud IQ. We support both Android and iOS. You can download it from the App Store or from the Google Play Store. Okay, so if you want to view all the enhancements, of course, just want to highlight because these are the new enhancements, right? So these are the just two. So we added VMware support for row device mapping (RDM) capability. Okay, so it will also be shown under the storage path tab. Okay, for power max capacity prediction, system update staging. Okay, custom label support for systems. Okay, we now support more connectrix switches. Again, Cloud IQ not just monitors the storage, it can also monitor our fiber channel SAN switches, connectrix SAN switches. Okay, up to the port level, performance and IOPS. Again, improve performance metrics for Unity file systems if we have that. Okay, full capacity, top contributor support. We also have that one. As mentioned, we also added support for access groups. Okay, there are some links here actually, no? So very
So
simple
this
to use.
is
Just yeah,
it's
that's into your
continuously being developed. So you will
yes,
continue to see new features and updates on a very frequent basis added here. So
yeah. So
yep.
another thing is we added root cause analysis for virtual machines. Imagine, okay, root causes for virtual machines. So that this is Cloud IQ. So not just for storage again, for your entire data center, your data protection. Okay. Uh, we have predictive prediction algorithm as well, capacity prediction algorithm. We improved that. Okay. In fact, we also can monitor our power scale, Isilon scale out NAS performance. It can practically monitor all our storage. Isilon, PowerMax, Vmax, PowerStore, even the entry-level PowerVault ME4, the old SC series, VNX, Unity, okay, Unity VSA, if you have one, as long as you have a valid maintenance agreement and you enabled your call home feature support assist. Okay, so we also have a reclaimable storage indication. Okay, for this entry level and mid-range storage. Okay, we have now support for Connectrix B series. This is the Brocade series of SAN switches, Gen 7 hardware support, and a lot more. Actually, this alone is very powerful. I mean, very useful.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the change log. That's just the change log.
Yeah. So and a lot more actually. Okay. So anyway,
Yep.
I'll be skipping some of this one because
I think we
just
can move
the
on to
feature
the main
updates. Yeah,
features. Yeah,
we
those are
will
just
consume all the minutes. Okay. So anyway, so this is the Cloud IQ. So you can have this an overview. This is the overview. This is your dashboard. Okay. You can see here the connectivity. There are 35 systems connected. So you can also find here the life cycle management, contract expiration. Okay. This is also good for you. For example, You want to you have for components for equipment that's about to expire or already expired and will expire within the year. So not just storage, performance capacity, virtual machine, data protection, and even lifecycle monitoring and management, all in one through Cloud IQ. Okay, anomaly detection, etc., health scores. Okay, you can find here the different types of level: poor, fair, and good. Okay, so you have the system alerts here. Okay, and of course you can immediately go to Dell support. Okay, there's a link here that you can launch. And we have some informational data also here, right? For example, it will guide you through, okay? For example, in this one, it can guide you through the how to manage it, okay? So for example, in this one, there's a capacity approaching full, one of the alerts here on the system health, okay? So within 5 hours, okay, it will be full. Okay, within 19 hours, this volume will be full. Okay, so the pool is at risk of running out of space within 5 hours in this demo because we're using this. This is a CAD demo actually. Okay, so in this case, the actual scenario, you can find it, a more appropriate, realistic time frame here. For example, in 1 month or 3 months, 6 months, or to 1 year. Okay. So there are here, you can see here the system needing updates. There are urgent and then recommended, disaster recovery code, etc. You can find here the performance impacts, similar to the management that I've shown you on the PowerStore. Okay, you can hover your mouse and find the timestamp, latency, okay, and the historical performance. Okay, and then of course, okay, you can also see here the reclaimable storage. Okay, for the each of the volumes. Okay, that's the beauty of this one. Okay, you can monitor each. Okay, for example, this is a Unity 650F all flash. We have a 19 terabytes reclaimable storage. Okay, we also have 880. You can see here different types of models. So you can monitor your storage from anywhere. You have a local data center in Manila, you have a data center in Cebu or in other countries. Through Cloud IQ, in a single pane of glass, just right at the fingertips, you can monitor everything. Okay, even you're outside, you're in vacation. Okay, so you can find here the health scores, system health issues. Okay, click the health issues here. You can also find here alerts. Okay, aside from the email alerts that you can configure through the management. Okay, you can also have here in Cloud IQ, you can monitor from anywhere. You don't have to connect to your VPN to monitor your storage. Just if you have internet connectivity and you have an account in Cloud IQ, then you're good to go to monitor everything. But this is where you can find everything actually. Okay, this is on top of the individual storage management that you have. This one can monitor practically all your storage equipment up to your performance, capacity, inventory, life cycle, okay, up to the sun switch level, ports, performance, latencies, and IOPS, anomaly detection. You can also use this for that particular usage. Uh, and then capacity planning as well, health scores, and everything. Okay, so again, Cloud IQ is not just a simple storage analytics. Okay, so we are continuously innovating and improving this component. Okay, and it's free for you to use. Okay, this is one of the value proposition of our storage offering. Okay, okay, let's go to this is the dashboard. Actually, this is the overview of everything. Okay, performance, reclaimable storage, notification, okay, alerts, system health scores, okay, contract expiration, life cycle, and then you can drill down further on each of the component here. Okay, you can see here. Okay, in this case, we have test dev. It's a Unity VSA, virtual storage appliance. You can see here the health score. Okay, you can drill down further by clicking this one. Okay, you can find here the health issues as well. Okay, so what is the health issue? Okay, it's more of the capacity, as you can find it here. So those are just the health issues. Okay, non-critical actually. But of course, we have this health scoring algorithm that we're using to provide you this kind of information. Okay, for your very insightful, information. So in inventory, you can find here the systems. Okay, again, as mentioned, the storage, any storage, almost all of our storage can be monitored to the SAN switches, as mentioned earlier. Okay, we have the SAN switches. Okay, you can see here the production cluster SAN switches, different model of SAN switches. Okay, you can select this one, and then you can drill down further on the performance, how many attached drives, okay, capacity, configuration, health score, okay, ports, is it up and down, how many are online, okay, so very useful, okay, for this one. Up to the, again, we added a new feature. Okay, Converge is our Converge infrastructure solution. We can also monitor it through Cloud IQ. Okay, and data protection is added. This is new. So we can see here the data domain equipment. So we support virtual appliance and physical appliance as well. Okay, so when you can drill down here further, and you can find all the information that is needed. Not just storage, data protection, VM, virtual machines, life cycle, as mentioned, all in one. Okay, so, and it's free for you to use. Okay, this is one good tool that for you to use in managing your data center equipment. Okay, so probably I've shown a lot of this one. I'll be ending my Cloud IQ demo for us to be able to proceed with other parts of the session of the event. But again, so everything that you can see here, right? So per component, per appliance, you can find all the information that you need actually.
So as mentioned by Onin, the Cloud IQ is accessible via any browser or even a mobile application on Android and iOS. So you can see the metrics of your data center components from anywhere. It can show insights, inventory, capacity, and even if your contract or your maintenance agreement is expiring. So it provides life cycle features as well. Okay, so in summary, let's summarize everything. So again, PowerStore's three pillars, data-centric. We are able to cater to any workload, block file, virtual volumes, and even using the apps on capability of PowerStore X, we can provide virtual machine compute. It's performance optimized, so it's again up to 7 times faster than our previous Unity and Unity XT arrays, and has a data reduction guarantee of at least 4:1. So intelligence, the PowerStore T models can scale up and out. Scale up by adding up to 384 drives of total drive capacity, and scale out up to 4 appliances or 8 nodes in a cluster. It's autonomous within that cluster. It auto analyzes all of the nodes in the cluster and makes recommendations if one of the components, or sorry, one of the appliances in the cluster has constrained resources. It also provides proactive health analytics in the array itself within the PowerStore Manager graphical user interface or in the form of Cloud IQ. And lastly, it's adaptable. So the PowerStore 5 models, 1000, 3000, 5000, 7000, and 9000 come in 2 deployment options. The PowerStore T, which provides traditional block file and virtual volumes capability, and the PowerStore X, which provides virtual machine, virtual machine hosting capability, while also still providing block to external hosts. It can also be deployed in the core, the edge, or even as part of a cloud infrastructure. And we provide flexible consumption options together with our partner Data. Okay, so that concludes my presentation for PowerStore. Now, we would hope that you would obtain from us or through our partner a live optics assessment, which will allow you to review your current host infrastructure, analyze your future strategy, and produce a possible proposal showing the TCO and value of going with our PowerStore solution. So I'll go back to our hosts from Phil Data to discuss this and the incentive if you get the analysis or live optics assessment from us. So thank you very much and have a good day.
One of the questions here are, what are the supported storage protocols? Can we use the protocols at the same time?
Yes, sir. That's a very good question, actually. So it can provide you block via fiber channel or iSCSI. It can provide you NAS servers in the form of NFS and SIPs or SMB shares, and can provide VMware virtual volumes as well, all at the same time and from the same storage array. As long as you have, of course, the proper IO module connectivity.
So it's a multi-protocol storage appliance.
Okay. Another question I have here is, how do we run live optics? How long? And is it seamless?
All right. So what happens for live optics is we have a live optics optical prime collector. So basically, this can be run from any laptop, any server connected to the machines or the hosts to be analyzed. And this is actually a very light application, nothing to install. It You just need to fill out the credentials. If it's a physical environment, you just fill out the IP address and the admin credentials on the collector. If it's a virtual infrastructure, you can point to the vCenter and it will analyze all of the VMs inside and leave it running for, we recommend, a minimum of 1 day or up to even 7 days, whichever period covers the one with the most busy times in your environment. So we can see the peak workload, and we can, once this is done, this information will be collated into a PowerPoint or even a website based showing the analytics assessment of the performance of this particular environment.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
Can
thank
I
you.
grab the screen to show the sample of live optics?
All right.
Yep.
All right, here.
Go ahead.
So this is what you can get. Okay, it's a free. This one is based on optical prime. So you can see here the envelope. Okay, you can see here the capacity memory, total capacity memory used, peak, etc. Aggregates, operating system used. Okay, server roles. In this case, I used my laptop. Okay, for demo. This particular one. So you can run from 10 minutes up to 7 days. Okay, so it can be online or offline. Okay, so performance here, you can find here the IOPS peak. So it's very useful information actually. No, it can also provide you. Can also provide you the report for your visibility as well. You can use to monitor to. You can use that report as your record of your performance of IOPS and environment. So this is a great tool actually. It's free and non-intrusive. Okay, so I hope you can, yeah, you can leverage this tool, okay, for you to be able to see your current infrastructure, okay, all the metrics, utilization, throughput, etc. So this one is good actually. Okay, I'll stop sharing again. You can grab the screen now to show the Q&A and the feedback form. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
want to show
Thank you
the
so much for that, Onin and Carl, for the answers to the questions. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone. And if you have additional questions or you need assistance, you may reach out directly to your account managers, or you can email us at sales@phildata.com. For more information and updates, you can also follow our social media accounts on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Our social media handles are one Phil Data, or you can just search for Phil Data. Once again, thank you everyone. And thank you to our friends and partners from Dell Technologies, Carl, Onin, Paolo, and Rachel. Have a great day, everyone. And this is the end of the program.
Over the time of 150 years, Konica Minolta is known for camera, film, and imaging technology. And we got into the healthcare through providing X-ray films. We want to be in the area where it really makes a difference to people's lives. Medical imaging is the area where there's going to be a lot of technology breakthrough. X-ray becomes much more valuable if you start capturing moving images. With DDR, we can detect early what is a problem. In order to capture moving image of an X-ray, you have to have intermittent pulsing capability. All the capabilities, the data capturing, data storage, data analyzing, are housed in a workstation. And that workstation was created by Dell Technologies.
簡便にかつ低侵襲、そして多くの情報を得られる。で、確実な診断ができる。これが一番重要なことです。迅速に診断し、そして迅速に治療に移るっていう。それがやはり DDR に期待されるところで。
Pulmonary disease is the place where it's immediately beneficial, but areas like orthopedics, where you have moving joints, that's another very promising application. This technology is so unique, there's a huge potential to benefit patients. Medical technology, now it's married with data science. It's opening up completely different possibilities. Konica Minolta strives for betterment of people's lives. We hope we'll be known for a very innovative healthcare company in the future.
At Dell Technologies, we believe technology has the power to drive human progress. Improving healthcare, gender equity, education, and the environment is all part of building the future we want to live in. It's why we're committed to bold goals over the next 10 years, because we can't just talk about progress. We must make progress real. It starts with our team. When we're diverse and inclusive, we reflect our customers, and we're able to unleash innovation. That's why by 2030, 50% of our global workforce and 40% of our global leadership will be women. Through technology, we'll advance healthcare, education, and economic opportunity initiatives around the globe. It's not only what we do, but how we do it. At the core of all these goals is our enduring promise to uphold ethics and privacy. By 2030, we will fully automate our data control processes, making it easier for our customers to access, delete, or update their personal data. At Dell Technologies, we believe innovation is the key to a better future. When we bring together new thinking, new solutions, new collaborations, and new voices, we can make progress real.
Presenting PowerStore. It's smart, it's adaptable. The future of storage is here. With up to 7 times more performance and up to 3 times lower latency. Featuring data-in-place upgrades for 0 downtime and greater app mobility with consistent edge-to-core to cloud operations. Let's make one step ahead real with PowerStore from Dell Technologies.